Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Can Mayonnaise Kill a Jedi podcast. I am your host, the Artificial Dragon.
I'm your co-host and your bartender, Darth Bane.
And welcome to episode 82 of the podcast, everybody. And today is a very monumentous occasion for anybody that has been living under a rock or are kind of new to the channel. We have hit our 1,000 subscriber goal.
Technically, it was yesterday.
It was technically yesterday at the timing of his recording, but yes, we have finally met our goal for the past 3 years in the making. I gotta say, Hannah, yesterday when I woke up and saw that the channel reached over 1,000 subscribers, I was like, yeah, this is obviously a dream. I'm gonna go back to sleep. And then I woke up again. I'm like, okay, this is not a dream. Holy shit.
I think that's awesome.
It is. Awesome. When I was younger, I always dreamed to have a YouTube channel that went above 500 subscribers. We're beyond that now, and we're at 1K. So once again, for everybody at the very bottom of my heart, thank you for all of your love and support for our little side project that has grown into something amazing.
Absolutely. Without you, we couldn't have gotten to where we are now.
Exactly.
I mean, my honest opinion, my reaction was I did not expect we would get this far.
Yeah.
So I'm pleasantly surprised, and I hope we can keep this going.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like to say, oh, congratulations, Artificial Dragon, you must be very proud. Well, yes, this is my baby, this is my brainchild, but number one, I would have not been able to do all of this without the participation of my co-host over here.
Aw, shucks.
I know I do a majority of the work, but this podcast and the community would not be what it is today without my co-host and her, I wouldn't say naive view, I'll probably have to close the door in a little bit, naivety into the lore of Star Wars, but just her genuine interest in learning more about this amazing universe that we both love.
Hell yeah. I'm learning more and more about Star Wars every single day, the more that I personally look into more stuff. So
at this point, Hannah, how many more episodes would it be until you call yourself a master of the Star Wars lore?
Not for a long time.
That is very fair. I wouldn't call myself a master of Star Wars lore. There's still a shit ton of stuff that I barely know about, but out of everybody else in the room, I'm probably the most knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But with our little statements aside, once again, thank you everybody who has subscribed to our channel, and thank you for our Patreon supporters for believing in this little project and community that we have in the making. So at the very bottom of my heart, thank you. Once again, thank you.
And I know I've mentioned him multiple times, but I'm still going to mention him, one of our number one fans who I wish we could.
Try again.
Try not to get emotional either.
Yeah.
Earth the Turtle. Our belovedly deceased Earth the Turtle. I wish he could have been here to see this, and he would have been proud of us too.
Yeah, he's been a longtime friend of the channel, and I know he's smiling upon us for our accomplishments. His influence will always be a inspiration for us all.
Absolutely.
Miss you very much, man. Miss you as always.
He is one with the Force.
He is. But yeah, with that somber note out of the way, yeah.
On to Patreon.
Onto the Patreon stuff. If you guys absolutely love the content that we make, we have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/canmail. Once again, that's patreon.com/canmail. You can contribute to any amount, the lowest being $2 and the highest being $10. Any amount you could contribute to, you will be supporting all the content that we make for our podcast. The Discord server, of course, is open for anybody, where you could join our little community, where you could share Star Wars lore, share memes, or just have a good time talking about life with me and my co-host over here.
Yeah.
It's always been a very fun time, and we've been getting a lot of new people that have voiced their love for this podcast, which is always awesome to see.
Oh, before I do my personal thing, big fucking thank you to Heretical Hatter.
Heretical Hatter, yes.
For his shout out to get us past that little give us that little push we needed. Honestly, dude, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Heretical Hatter. Go ahead and check his stuff out. He does a lot of Warhammer 40k, specifically Tau Empire stuff. Kind of unrelated to Star Wars, but he's been a good friend of the channel, and without his shout out, we wouldn't have gotten past 1k like we have right now.
I mean, we wouldn't have gotten that as fast as we did.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, support Celine's Cantina, pretty please.
Yes. And Celine's Cantina, it's been a little bit slow on your end, but we've all been a little bit slow on our end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the unfortunate thing.
Fucking January.
But yeah, with that, we do have our Patreon shoutouts. We got a couple of new ones, so a big shout out to all of our consulars. We have Alan Lee, Alan Martinez, Y Wolves, Dr. Mbos, Gobez, Lee Fott, Milo Khalid, Trainboy17, and Tristan H. Thank you everybody so much for supporting our Patreon and our channel for the past 3 years, and I am looking forward to creating more content like this in the near and foreseeable future. For this month's Patreon art piece, we have a new propaganda poster depicting a Chiss Imperial agent. She is serving the will of the Sith Empire and is very watchful over its citizens and its enemies. And a huge shout out to cosplayers Skyline Stars, who served as the reference for this character. So shout out to them. And for anybody that is wondering what our 1K special will be about, we are still doing a little voting with the council of all of our exclusive patrons, but you will see in probably the next month. But rest assured, our 1K special will be coming soon, and it is going to be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Depending on what's picked, I'm excited to see what'll happen.
Yeah, me too, Hannah. But with that aside, Hannah, what are we going to be talking about today?
We're talking about, I think, one of the most controversial Sith among us.
Did you unintentionally make a Among Us meme there, Hannah?
No, I did not. I just mean the Sith as a whole, the umbrella term, the Sith.
Yeah, I know.
Not being really specific before I say what it is.
You know, ironically enough, this situation would be very appropriate for an Among Us game, because today we are returning to a chapter of the history of the Sith, probably our most longest running Umbrella series ever.
Which was my idea, by the way.
But yes, we are returning to, once again, the history of the Sith, because aside from the Night Sisters and droids, we love our Sith.
Oh, fuck yeah. But this specific episode is going to, or this quote-unquote chapter, I should say, is going to be covering not the one Sith.
Well, not the one Sith. We're not quite at that point yet. Last time we were in the new Sith Wars.
I'm just trying to think of the better title to call him.
That's fair. But yes, in the last episode, we covered the Great Sith War and all the tomfoolery that went on there, ended with Shere Khan and his Brotherhood of Darkness. But there is one specific individual that will rock the Sith to their very core and will pave the way to the modern Sith, quote-unquote modern Sith.
We all know him. We all love him.
Indeed, and I will lead up to another quote of his, because he's got a lot of baller quotes, by the way, Hannah.
Are we going to say it yet?
Give me a moment. The dark side will devour those who lack the power to control it. It is a fierce storm of emotion that annihilates anything in its path. It lays waste to the weak and unworthy. But those who are strong can ride the storm winds to unfathomable heights. They can unlock their true potential. They can sever the chains that bind them. They can dominate the world around them. Only those with the power to control the dark side can ever truly be free.
God damn, that's a good quote.
And that, my dear co-host, is Darth Bane.
Yes, that's why I meant controversial.
Well, it always kind of depends. Darth Bane, I mean, maybe he's on the same level of controversy as people like Vitiate and Revan, but he's definitely one of the most influential Sith in the entirety of a modern era of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, stating the obvious here, the fucker created the rule of two.
Yeah, the rule of two, which bred some of the most powerful Sith Lords ever, outside of like Vitiate and all of that.
Outside of that, this is the quote-unquote modern Sith era.
Yeah, and Darth Bane, he is kind of a fascinating character. Like, he's been mentioned a couple of times in the lore here and there. Even in the new canon of Star Wars, he does have his. By the way, in the Clone Wars TV show, he is voiced by Mark fucking Hamill, which is awesome.
Very fitting for one of the most, for a Sith who created basically, like I said, the modern Sith.
Yeah.
To be voiced by Luke fucking Skywalker himself.
Which is also kind of ironic because Mark Hamill also famously voiced the Joker.
Duh. If you haven't watched Batman, you're living under a rock.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I'm going to show you the canonical appearance of Darth Bane. He does look pretty kick-ass in that armor of his.
Isn't that his ghost from Korriban?
That is his ghost, but I think that's his canonical appearance as he was in life.
I kind of like the way he looks in Legends better.
Yeah, he does have that certain appeal. Like, I'm going to send you another picture of him. Like, he's got that emo face right there.
I mean, the way, I'm going to say Night Sister tattoos because they look like Night Sister tattoos.
Yeah, they kind of do, yeah.
It just, I know it makes you look more edgy and you look like you walked into a fucking Hot Topic, but the face tattoos are cool.
Yeah, the face tattoos are pretty cool. And yeah, Darth Bane, okay, so there's an entire anthology series called the Darth Bane Trilogy. It is such a good novel series from what I've heard.
I gotta see if there's an audiobook. I just heard my wallet cry.
One of these motherfucking days, Hannah, we gotta do, once we get around to Dark Rendezvous and all that, we gotta talk about the Darth Bane trilogy. Because, even though we are talking about Darth Bane and the rise of a rule of two, I do think we are kind of doing a disservice if we do not go into the Darth Bane trilogy.
Oh, absolutely. This, like we've stated so many times before, this is the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, exactly.
With how much and I just only briefly looked into Bane and Zana themselves. I would love to cover Zana.
Yeah.
She is a fucking badass, but I want to save that for later when we actually get into the meat of the episode.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing about Darth Bane is that when you look at most Sith, like Darth Revan, he's clearly coming from he's clearly meant to be this uber powerful force user. Like, he was basically the chosen one of the Jedi in his era.
There have been a lot of quote-unquote chosen ones of the Jedi.
Or motherfucking Exar Kun, who's supposed to be the greatest Jedi swordsman, but then he fell from grace and went to the dark side and all that.
And what about Ulic Qel-Droma?
And Ulic Qel-Droma, yes. Ulic Qel-Droma. Let's not forget motherfucking Dooku, who's one of the best Jedi out there. And the obvious elephant in the room, Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
But Darth Bane, he is fascinating because he comes from more humble origins, if that makes any sense.
True. I have read up a bit on his backstory.
Yeah, but anyway, before I prattle on, let's go ahead and go into the history of the lovely man, Darth Bane.
Lovely?
The lovely man. I say that with the highest taste of irony, Hannah, because he is not a lovely man.
Lovely is not the word I would use to describe this man.
But yes, so Darth Bane, there's this picture out there where Darth Bane has a holocron, and he's surrounded by the Force ghosts of Darth Revan, Naga Sadow, and a couple of others. It's meant to symbolize that he is one of the most influential Sith in all of Star Wars. Of course, he's the creator of the Rule of Two, which would eventually bring about the downfall of the Jedi Order through Order 66 and all of that. But however, he is someone that comes from very humble yet tragic beginnings. Mm-hmm. Because just to bring you up to speed, back to the Great Civ War. During that era, it was basically the Dark Ages for the Republic. Much of the Outer Rim was conquered by the Sith, or was very rampant with pirate activities and corporations. I mean,
the Dark Brotherhood basically looked like knights.
Yeah.
From, like, medieval times.
Yeah,
I think that's so cool.
Yeah, even the motherfucking Jedi were acting like fiefdoms and samurai, having their own kingdoms and armies and all that.
Yeah.
It was just an era of chaos within the galaxy. Very much like it was during the prequel trilogy, granted, but way more chaotic. Just take away the Trade Federation and replace it with a Sith.
The galaxy can't seem to just have, like, a handful of eons for peace, right?
That is the unfortunate thing. Conflict must always exist, Hannah.
Unfortunately.
Even our own modern day, unfortunately.
But, anyway.
Yeah, but let's talk about Darth Bane. So he was born exactly 1,026 years before the Battle of Yavin. So he was like a 26 when the Brotherhood of Darkness was extincted and all that. Mm-hmm. But he was born as a young boy named Deso.
Yeah.
And he was born on the Outer Rim world of Apatros and was the son of a pair of miners. And his father was a very abusive miner named Hurst.
Yep, I read about this. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he is kind of a piece of shit. And unfortunately, as with a lot of tragedy in Star Wars, Deso's mother died during childbirth.
Of course. Yeah. The Padme route.
The Padme route, yeah, unfortunately. But the death of his wife brought about a lot of sadness in Hurst, to the point where he blamed Deso for the death of his mother.
Yep, that happens a lot.
Yeah, and he would abuse him a lot, to the point where he would, quote, call him the bane of his existence.
I get it.
So yeah, you could see the root of his Sith name coming in.
Very simple.
Yeah. But by the age of 16, Deso would begin working in the Cortosis mines of Apatros, and Cortosis is the anti-lightsaber material for perspective.
Yes, I know. We had a whole fucking arc on Valdemnik about it.
Very, very true, Hannah. Deso, he would learn to survive on his own, despite his father and co-workers hurling insults at him here and there. You know, he was the quiet child in this very harsh environment. And it's also kind of important to keep in mind, he was born under basically the thumb of a ore company. Like, they were little better than slaves at that point.
Reminds me of a song from Tennessee Ford. Very, very old song. 16 tons.
No, I've never heard of that before.
Very, very old song. But just ironically, it's like, essentially, I'm working myself to death. No, boy. Because I quote unquote owe my soul to the company store.
Oh boy. Yeah, that is very true. That is very, very true. And one of the very few moments that Deso would ever find happiness is when he went to the local cantina, where, you know, he would play sabacc and he would share drinks with one of the very few friends that he has, who is the owner of his cantina. This individual's name is Grassix, and he was, fun fact, he was actually a Nemodian. And a fun fact, Gressick, even though he's Nemodian, he is one of the very few people that legit cared about Dessel. Like, he's always looking out for him. He's always letting him do his thing. Like, he'd be like, here, Dessel, have some drinks. It's on the house. He was one of the very few friends that he would actually have.
Sounds like the only friend.
Unfortunately. And Gressick, he's also kind of a cool Nemodian because on this world, since it is ruled by this ore company, he kind of has to fall in line, but he purposely made the cantina look as luxurious as possible as a huge fuck you to the company.
That is funny.
Yeah, so one of the few times a Nemodian is actually a huge bro with people.
Yeah, the one time a Nemoidian isn't a complete dickhead.
I mean, if you've met the detective in my campaign, Hannah.
Yes. As the 5e handbook says, or Star Wars 5e handbook says, there are always outliers.
There always is, even with the cowardly Nemodians. But anyway, there would be one fateful day when Dessel turned the age of 18. One night, Hurst, his father, would come back more drunk than usual, and he would beat the ever-living shit out of Dessel. Like, he was berating him at first, and Dessel, he kind of stood up to him, and he's like, "What the fuck did you say to me, boy?" And he proceeded to beat the crap out of him. But when Dessel fell asleep, he had a dream where he envisioned his father dying by squeezing his heart. And then he woke up the next day to find his dad dead.
He did it through the Force.
He didn't know it at the time, but yes, he did kill him through the Force.
And that, I know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But just imagine stopping somebody's heart by just holding it with the Force.
Mm-hmm, yep.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
that's also badass, though.
Yeah, it is kind of badass. But here's something to keep in mind. As we know with the Jedi Order and probably the Sith Order as well, they take their initiates when they are like young. Dessel at this point is like 18 and he's still able to do that.
Yeah. And he has no prior Force training.
Yeah, he's just doing that instinctively, which is kind of scary to think about.
Yeah, that is scary.
But yeah, like, hey, my dad's gone. My life.
Cool, I killed my abuser.
Yay, my dad's dead. I don't know how he died, but who the fuck cares? And Dessel gained this new confidence. Like, he would go around, and the miners that previously bullied him, he would beat the crap out of them, and they learned to just avoid him. Like, we don't want to fuck with this guy. We got a badass over here.
Immediately got confidence from killing his own father.
Yeah, like, my abuser is gone. My abuser is gone. I can finally do whatever the fuck I want.
Well, to be fair, if your abuser dies, you do feel a hell of a lot better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't know about that, but I've heard a lot of stories about that sort of high. But yes, I completely sympathize with Dessel over here.
Yeah.
However, one fateful day, there would be a group of Republic soldiers who arrived to pick up a shipment of cortoses. And while they were having their little shore leave here, they decided to go to the cantina and play Sabacc. You know, just getting their pool of money, having a nice night on this middle buttfuck nowhere world. And Dessel, he was actually a very skilled player of Sabacc. That's one of the common threads that you always see with Force users, is that they are insanely lucky because they have the Force on their side and all that.
Well, they can read everybody's mind to see what they're thinking.
That is very true. And one of the, if I remember in the lore, when Luke Skywalker was looking for Jedi initiates, one of the most common tactics is that he would go into bars and watch over players of Sabacc and see if they have a strong influence in the Force, even if they were like in their 20s or 30s or something like that.
Yeah, smart. I mean, I've seen like the way the Jedi kind of did it with kids is like they would give them a toy and see if they could lift it using the Force. But with Luke's approach, that's actually a lot better.
Yeah, that is very
it's
true.
Smarter.
And yeah, just going into common areas without violating privacy, I suppose.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and you're literally not taking a child away.
Oh boy, we're never gonna leave that.
Anyway,
child abduction, yay! Anyway, but yeah, Deso, he was playing a quote friendly game of Sabacc with these Republic soldiers, and Deso proceeded to win every game, and he subtly threw some insults at the soldiers for good measure, like, I thought you guys were good gamblers, you're nothing better than drunk slugs or whatever. And one by one, he managed to knock every Republic soldier out of this game of Sabacc until it was just him and this ensign. We don't know his name or anything like that. We just know that his rank was an ensign. And at this point, it was just a very tense game of Sabacc. Like, there's an entire crowd gathering around and everything, cheering Deso on and everything. It was just this really tense game for very good reason, because I think that this was a huge pot that they were fighting over. Mm-hmm. But it went down to just him and this ensign, and they both dealt their hand. And miraculously, if you know anything about Sabacc, Hannah, what is the rarest hand one could get?
The Idiot's Array.
Both of them had the Idiot's Array.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
How the fuck does that happen?
No, it's like Deso is like, not bad. We both have an Idiot's Array. And in this very rare case, whenever both players have an Idiot's Array, this would call down to a sudden demise. And this would basically mean whoever had the highest hand, regardless, like if one of them had an 8 but the other had a 9, the guy with the 9 wins.
Yeah, it's called a tiebreaker.
Yeah. So they dealt this tiebreaker, and they both showed their hand. However, both Deso and the ensign had a 9.
So it's a straight tie.
It's a straight tie. They're like, okay, best 1 out of 2. However, this went down. You could just imagine how tense the crowd was at this situation. Like, oh shit, he's got an Idiot's Array. Both of them have Idiot's Array. Oh crap.
Everybody's losing their fucking minds.
Yeah, and at this moment, I think in the novel, Deso is instinctively spurring the crowd on into these violent tendencies and all that. Like, there's about to be a bar brawl happening here and there, but
he's using the Force to influence everyone around him.
Yeah, and second tiebreaker, the ensign deals an 8, and Bane dealt a 9.
Boom.
And Deso won the pot of 10,000 credits.
Holy shit.
Which is awesome
That's
to have for a miner like him. But at this point, the ensign, even though he beat Deso 2 times, which is kind of impressive when you think about it, but during this entire thing, the ensign was so motherfucking pissed off, he attempted to attack Deso. If this was supposed
Skill
to...
issue. What a sore loser.
But, this was supposed to be the powder keg for this entire bar brawl to happen. But Deso's good old buddy, the Nemodium bartender, pulled out his gun and shot into the air and told everybody to calm the fuck down and demanded everybody to walk out except for Deso because he wanted to talk to him. And he was like, hey, Deso, I have noticed that the crowd, they were getting pretty antsy. Even I myself got a little bit antsy. I wanted to fire upon the crowd, but I was able to stop myself from doing something. There's something about you, Deso. And he was like, hey, Deso, be wary, because that ensign and his buddies were pretty pissed at you. And Deso's like, no, I got this, fam. He's like, okay.
I got this, fam.
I got this, fam. And Deso, he walked out with a lot richer than he did coming back in, first off. However, he was cornered by the ensign and his buddies. You know, the classic thing.
He got ganged up on.
Yeah, he got ganged up on. And you know, the Republic soldiers were like, oh, look at you, nobody. How dare you take our credits? Trying to bully him.
Triggered!
And Deso, he unintentionally realized through the Force that the Ensign had a hidden knife on him. And even though he was ganged up by these Republic soldiers, he wouldn't be able to beat them off. So he instinctively reached his hand out and grabbed the Ensign's hidden knife and basically killed him with it.
Oh, shit.
And the rest of the Republic soldiers were like, holy shit! And then they did a classic Naga Sadao
the JoJo move.
technique of running away and telling on their superiors.
That's
and
funny.
Deso, so Deso at this point, he came to realization. He was like, oh shit, I am in big trouble because
well, fuck, I just killed somebody.
Yeah, he legit killed a Republic trooper, which is a huge no-no.
That's making a Skyrim allegory because I've been playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
Accidentally killing a Whiterun guard or killing a civilian in a hold. It's like, oh no!
You violated the law!
Stop, you violated the law!
So Deso, he had nowhere else to go, and he was forced to go back into the cantina where his Nemodian buddy is. He's like, crap,
I fucked up.
I fucked up. I need some help because he knows if he gets arrested, he's going straight off to a penal colony where he will be absolutely worked to death. And the Nemodian was like, okay, look, Deso, I do have some contacts. Doing this will break my contract with the Oreworks company, but since you are my friend, I am willing to risk my neck out for you and have you go to a better life. There is a smuggler I know. He will take you to the Brotherhood of Darkness, where you will find a better path in life. And Deso, he kind of had no other choice in this aspect, so he accepted. He's like, thank you so much. I do not know what I would be without you. And they parted ways. He goes on the smuggler ship, and he would take him to one of the worlds of a Brotherhood of Darkness. And this is where Deso's life would change forever.
Well, duh.
Well, first off, the Sith didn't even bother checking if Deso was powerful in the Force, because at this point, he knows he's got something about him, but he doesn't quite know that he's powerful in the Force just yet.
Yeah.
And when he got...
He just thinks it's this kind of weird thing that's going on.
Yeah, he's lucky for all intents and purposes. But yeah, when he got taken to the Brotherhood of Darkness, they basically conscripted him as a normal foot soldier. And he was paired up in this military unit called the, I shit you not, the Gloom Walkers. But I gotta say, motherfucking Bane as a Sith trooper actually looks pretty cool. I'll go ahead and send a picture over. Also, the Brotherhood of Darkness Sith troopers also look pretty cool.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah.
And he actually looks like a normal dude in this picture.
Yeah, he's a normal-ass looking dude. That's one of the nice things about Darth Bane and his entire backstory. He's a normal-ass dude. He doesn't come from a royal family. He's not a chosen one. He's just a normal-ass dude who has this special connection to the Force.
Yeah. And then he uses it for evil.
And within the Gloom Walkers, he had his ability... his connection to the Force made him a very adept soldier, and he would eventually rise up in the ranks as a sergeant of the Gloom Walkers. His actions would actually save the lives of those under his command numerous times, to the point where he gained the trust of his fellow soldiers. To the point where they actually prefer him over their actual commanding officer. Like, Deso, he would do all these miraculous victories, and his superior would just take the credit because Deso was just a sergeant. A nobody, basically. But, let's see. Oh yeah, and if you see the, this will probably be important for later, but the woman to Deso's right is the unit's female sniper named Lucia, and she's one of her Deso's most vocal supporters, kind of his second in command.
And his love interest.
Well, kind of love interest.
Later on.
But yeah, the Gloom Walkers were with Deso's skill and everything, would become one of the most skilled infantry units of the entirety of the Brotherhood of Darkness, and they would go on many critical missions in their name. One such mission was on this world of Pezria, which was basically, okay, so they were kind of thrown into this situation, which was seen as a tactical blunder. Like, their superior knew it, but fuck, he didn't want to piss off the commanding Sith. If you know anything about SWTOR, telling the Sith that they're wrong is just suicidal.
Yep.
But Deso found out about this, beat the crap out of his officer, and assumed command himself.
Insubordination, my ass. My boot's going up your foot.
But yeah, like he decided to beat up his superior for quote unquote cowardice, and decided to lead the mission himself. And
fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, and he so I won't go into depth because it's basically, I'm pretty sure it's covered more into one of the novels of how he accomplished this, but through his connection through the Force, he was able to overthrow they were able to get out with relatively low casualties through his influence through the Force and all that. With a miraculous trick shots, like 360 trick shots sort of thing. He brought them victory, but his superior, basically, I'm telling on you to Deso, to the Sith. For his insubordination.
What? He's a fucking snitch.
Yeah, and the superior officer reported Deso for his mutiny, and it was initially suspected that he would be court-martialed. But the very moment the commanded Dark Lord met Deso, he's like, holy shit, you are actually very strong in the Force. Okay, instead of court-martialing you, we're going to send you to the Sith Academy on Korriban, because you might be actually something of worth to the Brotherhood of Darkness outside of a normal foot soldier. And at that point, Deso was given the option to make a new identity. And you probably know what name he chose.
Bane.
Yeah, he decided to choose the name. He decided to pick the name that his father in place, put upon him many, many years ago. Bane.
Badass.
Yeah, it is pretty badass. But yeah, he went to the Sith Academy to become a Sith acolyte. So he started training at this academy under the tutelage of Human Headmaster Quadris and Twi'lek Blade Master Chasm. Both of these guys don't have any pictures, unfortunately, but just to give you a general idea of these two masters that Bane has.
I was thinking the two quote-unquote masters you meet on Korriban, Yadiraban and whatever the fuck his name was in KOTOR. So
yeah, kind of like that position, but in this case, it is the Brotherhood of Darkness instead of the Sith Empire. Yeah.
Different names, same fucking concept.
Yeah, so Bane, he was a very diligent student. He immediately went into the archives, the ancient archives of the Sith Academy. He would go through, the ancient texts of the Sith Empire. However, his masters got wind of this, and they basically dissuaded Bane from reading the archives because they called them the, quote, ancient, useless relics of the past. And at that, Bane...
I'm calling bullshit.
I know. This will be prominent later. But Bane, he was like, okay, I'll leave.
Just accept it for now, but he's like... No.
Yeah. Bullshit. Just that little chip on his shoulder that will come later. But he was like, okay, I'll stop being a nerd and decide to I'll stop being a nerd and instead focus on physical fighting and all that. And Bane, he turned out to be a very capable martial artist.
I think I've seen a panel or two from one of the comics.
Yeah.
He's fucking ripped.
Yeah, he is pretty ripped.
He's jacked.
He was so motherfucking good. This motherfucking outsider who came into the Sith Academy late in his life was outperforming other students that have been training in this since they were born. he was such a diligent student. Like, he was slowly rising through the ranks as this peerless Sith.
I mean, the fact that he's he's going through this quote-unquote chosen one journey.
Yeah.
When he just started out as a normal Joe Schmo who got a shitty hand dealt in life.
Yeah.
And he ends up creating the modern Sith. That's just so fucking cool.
It is pretty cool, isn't it?
I love it.
But yeah, on one occasion, Darth Bane, okay, he's not Darth yet. He's still normal as Bane. Bane, he would accidentally kill a fellow student out of rage during a mock duel because he was throwing insults at him and everything. And obviously, Bane didn't mean to kill the student, and he was kind of traumatized after this. But the rest of his Sith masters were like, God damn, Bane. Okay, this dude might actually be the champion of a Brotherhood of Darkness. And the headmaster was looking at the Blade Master like, hey, I want you to take particular attention at this human over here because he could be the Sith Ari. The Sith Ari basically is the Sith chosen one.
What did I just say? Chosen one.
But yeah.
I remember reading about the Sith Ari.
Yeah. However, but this was a moment where Bane began to fear a little bit the power of the dark side because, and slowly he started to doubt his master's teachings, which resulted in him slowly losing his connection to the Force.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
That's
he had this little bit of confidence, and then he killed a fellow student. It's like, oh my god, I didn't mean for that to happen. Like, that little bit of consciousness kind of just severed his connection to the Force briefly.
Wow.
And, this loss of his power to the Force basically got him shunned by his fellow students, and even his master, who was initially encouraged to put special attention on Bane. Was like, you're going below my expectations. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's like, what the fuck did I waste my time doing?
Yeah, and out of this, he became the black sheep of the entire academy.
Exiled.
And in desperation, he went back into the archives to figure out what the fuck he was doing wrong and to possibly find answers to regain his connection to the dark side and all of that. And as he went through the Sith texts more and more, he slowly began to question the direction of a Brotherhood of Darkness. Because if you recall from the History of a Sith episode about the Great Sith War, the Brotherhood of Darkness, basically Lord Khan said that all Sith are equal because he wanted to get rid of the continual backstabbing and all of that.
Yeah, it was a good effort, but unfortunately, it don't work.
Yeah, it don't work like that. And Bane started to see the small cracks behind the direction of a Brotherhood of Darkness. And the thing that stood out to him the most is that most of the Sith don't have the title of Dark Lord, Darth.
Yeah, Darth, Dark Lord. Those don't exist in the time of the Brotherhood of Darkness.
Yeah, and he found out later that Lord Khan forbid any Sith from taking the title, as the use of it caused so many infighting amongst the Sith.
Gee, no fucking shit. Look at all the fights you get into in the Sith Academy on Korriban.
Yeah, and Bane, he started to slowly, press X to doubt on the Brotherhood of Darkness.
Press X to doubt.
Because he saw them as severely flawed and ruled by pretenders, little better than Dark Jedi at this point.
They do kind of remind me of Dark Jedi.
Yeah, they kind of do, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, compare it to fucking Vicious Sith Empire or the Sith Empire in SWTOR itself.
Yeah.
It's like, these guys are a little soft.
Yeah, they are a little bit soft. Equality? What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, as he's diving more, being the huge, big-brained Sith nerd he is right now, eventually a new member would be sent to the Academy. And this would be kind of, so this is kind of one of Darth Bane's love interests. It's a former Jedi by the name of Githani. And yeah, she's got a laser whip.
Light whip. I love those. That's cool.
Yeah, she's kind of going to be a very important character in Bane's life in more ways than one, anyway.
Okay.
So Githani, she would be sent to the Korriban Academy, and Bane saw an opportunity in learning more about the Force from this former Jedi. And Githani, in return, she saw an opportunity in this outsider because she wanted to dethrone the star pupil of the Korriban Academy. And, you know, they were kind of working on this selfish relationship, like scratch my bag and I'll scratch yours sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, under Githani, Darth Bane would learn more Force techniques. Like, for example, he mastered Force Lightning from Githani.
Nice.
Which is kind of impressive considering that Githani is a former Jedi, so how she learned Force Lightning is beyond me, but that's not important. But yeah, okay. And at this point, as they're having this little master and student relationship, they slowly developed feelings for one another, but neither of them wanted to admit it. Like, this is not love. This is not love, because they're always committed to the dark side and nothing else. But yeah, they're slowly having this huge infatuation with each other, but they didn't. They're tsunderes, basically. Tsundere, yeah. But yeah, after enough time, Bane felt confident enough to challenge the best student at the academy, who is this Zabrag named Sirac, who he, shock of all shocks, defeated very easily.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and as an award, the Blade Master of the Academy gave Darth Bane his first lightsaber, which, by the way, is a curved-hilted lightsaber, the very same thing that Dooku would have.
Yeah, it's badass. I love curved lightsabers.
Yeah, they are pretty cool. And he told Bane that this was a lightsaber that I got from my master, and he was the one that liberated me from slavery on Ryloth. Sorry, I'm stumbling across my words here. And eventually he told Bane about the story where he directly challenged his master, killed him, and reclaimed his lightsaber for himself. And this left a very deep impression on Bane. And, you know, Bane, he became the star pupil after defeating the previous star pupil of the Korriban Academy. Mm-hmm. However, despite these obvious accomplishments, the headmaster of the academy called him out for disobeying him once again and reading the forgotten archives of Korriban. Like, he was reprimanding him for being a huge nerd when he needs to focus on the ideals of a brotherhood.
And then Bane himself is just like, fuck you, I do what I want.
Yeah, and basically Bane, he was so pissed off, he figuratively gave the headmaster the middle finger and left the Korriban Academy.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want.
And he specifically journeyed to the Valley of the Sith.
It's literally outside the academy.
Because he wanted to go out to perhaps find one of the spirits of the previous Sith Lords and become a student to one of them.
Specifically, the Valley of the Sith or the Valley of the Dark Lords?
There we go. The Valley of the Dark Lords. That's
literally outside the academy.
Well,
he left like an angry child saying he's gonna run away. Like, fuck you, Dad, I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he does have the edgy makeup, so that makes sense, Hannah.
I'm just being a shit. That was funny.
So yeah, he would go to the Valley of the Dark Lords to get more knowledge on the ancient teachings of the Sith and all that. However, as he went around the Valley of the Dark Lords, he found nothing. Absolutely nothing. No spirits walking about, no spirits of one of the Dark Lords reaching out to him. Absolutely nothing except the wind and silence of Korriban.
They're sleeping.
And at that point, Bane, he concluded that these spirits of the Sith saw him as unworthy and the current Sith as weak.
Fair.
And he saw Yeah, he basically saw Khan's emphasis on the greater good of the Order over following the dark side as as detrimental to defeat the Jedi Order. So more of his to doubt on the Brotherhood of Darkness.
He just keeps doubting.
Yeah, and he would, after his entire journey, he returned back to the Academy 2 weeks later, by the way. And he would return exhausted and hungry. He was just very feeble and in a very weakened position. And he found Githani, who informed him that all the students at the Korriban Academy were brought to Ruusan and elevated to Lord because, this is pretty much near the end of the war between Khan and Lord Hoth. So they need all the Sith they can muster.
Yeah.
However, even though everybody else was gone, minus the headmaster, Githani, and a couple of other people, unknowns to Bane, Githani made a pact with Sirak, who is the previous star pupil of Korriban, and ever since he got his ass kicked by Bane, he wanted to...
Hey, boner.
He wanted to pay him back and reclaim his former title as the star pupil. So he made a pact with Githani and 2 other fellow Zabrak apprentices to corner Bane and basically kill him.
That didn't work.
No, it clearly did not work. I mean, like Bane, he was deprived of his lightsaber, by the way, and he was about to get killed, but Githani came in to bail his ass out, and they killed all the Zabrak apprentices.
What was the point of trying to turncoat then, bitch?
Well, she wanted to, get the Zabrak out of the picture first and blame it on Bane.
Fair enough.
But at this point, he was being ganged up by lesser Sith, even though he's clearly their betters. And this kind of turned a couple of gears in his head of how far the Sith have fallen. And Bane, he looked at Githani and he was like, okay, I'm going to leave. And Githani's like, no, Bane, we need to go to Ruusan and fight in Khan's name and blah, blah, blah. Because at this point, Githani, she's kind of a simp for Khan at this point.
He's handsome. I would too.
Not wrong, but Bane, he had other opinions on Khan. So he was like, fuck this.
He's like, fuck this, I'm out.
And he went to the Blade Master and he told him about the Zabrak that tried to kill him. And he was like, did you order for my execution? And the Blade Master was like, no, I did not know about this. And he's like, fuck this. I am going to take your ship and I'm going to find a new path for the Sith. And he got on the ship and he went to a particular planet to find more answers to the dark side. And this planet would be Ricotta Prime.
Oh, of course. That's where you're sure gonna get your answers.
Yeah, that's one of the final planets you go to in Knights of the Old Republic, I believe.
You have yet to get to that. I've experienced it twice.
That is very true. But yeah, when he was going through the ancient Sith records on Korriban, he heard hints about this mysterious planet that was powerful on the dark side. So he went there to find answers. And when he landed, he would search a location that might be familiar to you, Hannah, the Temple of the Ancients. And
literally where Revan went into.
Yeah, and along the ways, he found a wild rancor, which he tamed through his influence in the Force. So that's pretty cool. So in the Temple of Ancients, he would be searching for relics, and he would stumble upon a holocron created by Darth Revan. And he would spend several weeks studying its contents.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate right there. And from it, Bane learned many secrets of the dark side and the Sith in general, and a little bit of Revan's own personal ideals of his method of training his own apprentice in Malak and all that stuff. And this started giving him more ideas on how he could change the Sith. And after that, and more importantly, vindicated his belief that the Brotherhood were mere pretenders, merely cosplaying as Sith Lords at this point.
Yeah, they were just dark Jedi.
Yeah, and he declared that they needed to be stopped. Nay, they needed to be destroyed so he could restart with a clean slate.
Literally what fucking Thanos did.
Yeah, pretty much.
I need to restart this.
Yeah. And during his time on Rakata Prime, Khan, he would hear about this rogue Sith Lord, and he approached the Blade Master. Hey, this Bane guy, he could be very problematic for the Brotherhood. Go out and kill him for me. Okay, first, convince him that the Brotherhood is the ideal path for the future of a Sith. And if you can't convince him, kill him. And the Blade Master's like, okay.
He's gonna die.
So how the Blade Master found out where Bane was, Githani, she had a Force vision that basically pointed Bane at being at Rakata Prime. And the Blade Master's like, say no more, I'll kill him.
Say no more, I'm on my way.
So he arrived on Rakata Prime, and he and Bane, his star pupil at this point, they were having this discussion, and Bane's like, fuck that, I'm not going to join the Brotherhood of Darkness. They're a bunch of pretenders. And the Blade Master's like, okay, then I'm gonna have to kill you. So they went into this fateful duel, and both of them were pretty even at this point, but the tides truly turned when the Blade Master, so he has a double-bladed lightsaber, just for perspective. He decided to pull a underhanded trick. Okay, so his saber staff can separate into two separate blades. I've seen you before. And, excuse me. And this is where he has the biggest advantage over Darth Bane, because during his during his training of Darth Bane and the other students of the Korriban Academy, he always told them never to use two lightsabers in combat. And basically, it's his way of being all like, a wise master does not reveal all of his secrets at once. And Bane, he had no way of combating two blades at once, so he was at a severe disadvantage. But on the bright side, Bane, he knew the layout of the temple that he spent several weeks in, so he decided to play the environment to his advantage.
Martin.
And he basically collapsed the entirety of the temple on his own master, killing him. He was like, oh no, two blades, what can I do? Collapse.
Oh no, two blades, what can I do? Bye-bye.
Like, I'm gonna collapse the entire building on you to kill him. Which is kind of overkill, but yeah, Bane, he's willing to do anything for victory.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look at that loose pebble over there. Bye-bye.
And after that, Bane, he was like, okay, I gotta start my plans right here, right now. So he dispatched a carrier drone to send a message to Khan personally. Like, basically, he sent him plans of a ancient Sith ritual that he claimed would bring about the ultimate downfall of the Jedi Order. And he declared that, hey, I know I killed your Blade Master, but I'm interested in returning to the Brotherhood of Darkness.
He's like, yeah, I did this, but I want to come back.
Yeah, basically. This is where Bane started planting the foundations for the downfall of the Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. And this ancient Sith ritual would be the catalyst for this downfall. So Khan was like, okay, I'm going to send an envoy to ensure that your loyalty with me is complete and all that. And Bane chose the planet of Ambria as a meeting ground to talk to his envoy, which turned out to be his good old love interest, Githani.
Yep.
And they shared like a very passionate kiss because Bane, he's been away for a good while and they never had a private moment together. And after they have this kiss, Bane, he was like, hang on. What is this? Because he had this numbing sensation in his lips.
She poisoned her lipstick.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. And Bane, he's all like, this this bitch tried to kill me. Because it was a very, it was a poison of lesser quality. And at this point, Bane, he was having like these ideals, like, okay, I need to start the Civ, but...
To be fair, that is a smart way of trying to kill someone.
Pretty much, yeah. And he was thinking to himself, like, Githani, even though she's a former Jedi, she does understand the nature of the dark side and all that. So she could probably be a very good first apprentice, blah, blah, blah. And Bane, he didn't want to let Githani know that he knew that she poisoned him. So he was like, okay, I'll meet you at Ruusan, blah, 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 have a good time. And Githani's like, okay, bye. And the moment Githani left Ambria, Bane realized that he had been tricked because the lesser poison that he felt in his mouth was a cover for the actual poison.
Oh.
And it was a deadly neurotoxin. Let me see if I could find it real quickly.
Fine. It's like, oh, she poisoned me. Wait, she actually poisoned me!
Yeah, this lesser poison was a decoy for a neurotoxin called Cynex, which, quote...
It sounds like cyanide.
Yeah, which, quote, causes vicious gut pains, intense fatigue, and internal hemorrhaging.
Internal bleeding.
Yeah.
That's what hemorrhaging is.
Especially around the eyes and nose. So Bane, he was just hit all at once with this intense pain. Like, he was going in and out of consciousness. And he was like, that motherfucking bitch. Oh my God. So he, out of sheer desperation, like, he went to the nearby lake, which literally contains the death and suffering of this world's inhabitants. And he drew upon the dark side because, you know, like, he's doing what Darth Maul did when he got cut in half, basically. Yeah. Feeding off the suffering and anger of others. However, since this planet was not that powerful on the dark side, it wasn't enough to sustain him, and he ended up passing out.
Oof.
And then he woke up again to find a bunch of children surrounding him.
This is where he meets his apprentice.
Not quite. Not quite.
I know.
So one of the children were holding his lightsaber, like, what the fuck is this? Is he a Jedi?
What's this?
And Bane, he was like, I'm so more fucking desperate. And he reached out through the Force, activated his lightsaber, and killed those children.
Oh my God.
And then he realized the children's father was right over there. And he saw all of his kids get killed right in front of him.
Oh my God.
And this father's shock and fear was enough to sustain Darth Bane temporarily. And he got up to his feet, walked over to the father, who was begging, pleading for his life. But Bane just executed him right then and there.
This is when I think Bane starts to be like Darth Malgus.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I don't know if I like it or not because I'm so fucking tired of Darth Malgus.
But yeah, Bane, he was just doing everything he could possibly can to stay alive. And he would eventually stumble upon this healer. Let me see if I can find him. Okay, so he stumbled upon this healer named Caleb, who came to this planet to heal the people of his world, because this was like a recent battleground and everything. So Bane approached this Caleb guy, and he demanded that he heal him. And at first, he tried threatening him, then mind tricking him. But this Caleb guy, he was strong-willed. Like, nah, fam.
Willpower 100.
And then Bane noticed the presence of someone else, his daughter. So he reached out through the Force and basically threatened that he will torture his daughter if he does not cure him. And Caleb's like, no, not my daughter. Okay, I'll heal you. Just leave my daughter alone.
Yep.
And Bane, he got cured of his poisoning. Yep. And at first, after he recovered fully, he kind of contemplated killing Caleb. But the Force kind of reached out to him, basically telling him, nah, he'll be useful for later. And Bane just left, leaving Caleb where he is. Mm-hmm. And he got into his ship and returned and went on a direct set course to Ruusan to join the rest of the Brotherhood of Darkness. So the moment Bane arrived on Ruusan, this was basically the last hours of the Brotherhood of Darkness. Like, this is not quite their last stand, but they're pretty much on the back foot of his battle. He arrived when Lord Khan was convening with the rest of his war council and talking about planning and all that. And Bane, he just dramatically walked into the tent. Like this.
He's like, what's up, bitches?
He's like, I lived, bitch. Like, it's very clear that he doesn't want to act rashly against his former love interest and against Khan because he's a patient motherfucker.
That, and he's surrounded by the rest of their forces. He would probably get fucked in a minute.
However, even though he didn't want to get on their bad side, he openly mocked Khan and the rest of the lords, basically calling them cowards.
Which they kind of are.
And he was all like, you motherfuckers, you call yourselves Sith, yet you are holding back from unleashing the full power of the dark side on our enemies. You want to meet them as honorable warriors, lightsaber to lightsaber, yet you do not want to summon the full power of the dark side to smite our foes. I can provide you the ultimate victory that you seek. And surprisingly, Khan was like, okay, I'm listening.
That's smart. Just like, I'm listening.
Yeah. And
personally, as much as I like the Sith, yes, local Sith simp, I do like that the Dark Brotherhood actually had honor.
Yeah, they do.
They're not technically Sith. Personally, I think they're Dark Jedi, but it's like a step.
Go on.
No. Diet Sith.
Diet.
They're Diet Sith.
Diet Sith. Goddamn, Hannah. Oh, man.
They're not actually Coke. They're just Diet Coke.
That is very true. Yeah, they are kind of cool in that regard, but they are not Sith. At least I wouldn't qualify them as Sith.
Yeah, they're Diet Sith.
Yeah, they are Diet Sith. But anyway, so he was like, okay, Bane, I'm willing to listen to your plan. And he kind of encouraged the rest of his lords to follow Bane's lead in this new attack against the army of light. Mm-hmm. So basically,
which is the Jedi.
Yeah.
Against the Jedi.
Led by Lord Hoth. So basically, the entirety of the Brotherhood of Darkness met with Bane on this cliff that overlooked the nearby woods where the Army of Light was encamping on. Mm-hmm. And he was like, witness the full power of the dark side. Focus your connection on me as a conduit, and I will bring the ultimate destruction of the Jedi Order.
Didn't he just do what Vitiate did?
Not quite, but I could see where you're coming from. So basically...
because that's like the perfect fucking setup of yoink!
So basically what Bane does, so the rest of the Brotherhood of Darkness basically connect their power and connection to the Force with Bane as basically a conduit.
Yes.
And he summoned forth...
fucking Goku Spirit Bomb. We all know the trope.
Pretty much. And Bane has summoned forth a Force Storm, which basically ravaged and set ablaze the entire forest that the Jedi were in. And this caused the Jedi to panic, like they rushed the fuck out of there, opening themselves out to the wide plains of Ruusan. Had Bane continued with this plan, he would have ravaged the Jedi at this point in time. But then Khan severed his connection at the last minute with Bane.
Damn.
And the rest of the Dark Lords severed their connection to Bane. And he was like, okay, we've driven the Jedi out. We will meet them on the fields of battle. Get on our speeder bikes and we will meet them face to face. And Bane was like...
Bane's probably just like, what the fuck?
Because I like to think this was the moment where Bane was trying to give the Brotherhood of Darkness a way out. Like, you could redeem yourselves if you follow my advice. And they failed their test spectacularly.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, he's trying to be the true Sith, like, kind of like Malgus with his, like, leadership skills.
Yeah.
And they're all like, nope. And he's just standing there like the white monkey. Like, why?
I love that picture so much.
It's just like, why?
But yeah, very clearly, Bane was furious. And Githani, she was like, hey, Bane, don't worry about it. Besides, meeting them in battle is way more fun than whatever the fuck you're doing. And Bane was like, you motherfucking bitch.
He's like, okay, he got blue-balled.
Yeah.
He got blue-balled. Oh my god.
Like, Githani, like, Bane thought she would make a worthy apprentice, but he realized that was not possible if she continued to stay loyal to Khan and his ideals.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
He wanted her as an apprentice.
Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate, but shit happens, I suppose. And while the rest of the Brotherhood of Darkness went out to fight the Army of Light in their climactic battle, Bane just went back to the camp.
He's like, fuck this.
He's like, fuck this, because he had to enact his next step. However, not all of the members of the Brotherhood of Darkness went out into battle. His former headmaster was there waiting for him.
Okay.
And he was like, Bane, I know exactly what you are planning. I know exactly why you came to Ruusan in the first place. And Bane, he was like, you have my attention.
Like, oh?
Because, like, he was like, okay, I know your ultimate plan, and I could help you out with this plan. And Bane's like, you intrigue me, continue. And the Blade Master was like, I could help you overthrow Darth Khan and then place you as the ruler of the Brotherhood of Darkness. And then Bane's like, okay, you lost me.
He's like, I don't fucking care.
Because
so he doesn't have an interest in power.
No, he does not.
Which is very different for a Sith.
Yeah, because his loyalty is to the dark side itself, which is not the goals of a Brotherhood.
Exactly. And to be fair, it's not the goals of Papa Palpa either.
You know, that is fair, but we'll get to that section later for the Rule of Two. But anyway, and Bane basically made it clear to this.
That's so funny. It's like, I can give you power. It's like,
no. We need to make a motherfucking Bane Chad face, like, nah.
Or not even that, just deadpan, no.
No. And, like, he made it clear that he didn't want to rule the Brotherhood. He wished for its utter destruction. And before this headmaster could attack Bane, he reached out through the Force and utterly restrained him, slowly choking him to death. And the headmaster was like, this is dishonorable. I demand to face you as honorable equals. And Bane, he doesn't care about that. The dark side
doesn't have honor.
This is what he says to him. Honor is for the living. Dead is dead.
Yeah.
And he just slowly killed him, an unceremonious death. Because he doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't. To the Sith, honor means nothing.
Yeah. So after he killed his second master, basically, he went into the tent and he contacted the orbiting Sith armada that was basically preventing the Jedi from landing reinforcements. And he ordered the commanding admiral to engage the Jedi fleet, which will basically open up the blockade for reinforcements, but at least they will engage in combat against the opposing Jedi fleet and all that.
Okay.
And Bane's ultimate plan, because at this moment, Khan, he was this close to victory against Lord Hoth. But Bane, he didn't want that to happen.
Meanwhile, while he's doing this, there's this whole, like, medieval samurai knight battle
Pretty
going
much,
on,
yeah.
And we're focusing on this dude.
A very smart dude, granted.
True.
But yeah, like, Bane, his entire cusp is to, because Khan hasn't enacted the ritual that he sent him yet, but send the Jedi reinforcements. This will truly be a desperate situation, and Khan would have no other choice but to enact this ritual. So the reinforcements arrive, Khan gets his ass kicked, and he retreats back to the camp to find Bane. And basically Bane confronted Khan, and he told him that perhaps now was the moment to use the ritual he had sent him before. And this ritual, if it has been a good while since we did our super weapons episode, but this specific Sith ritual was the thought bomb.
I remember this.
Yeah.
It's fucking reaction to that one. The what?
But yeah, it's basically a Sith ritual where all of the Sith would focus their powers on the dark side in one singular capsule. Yeah, I know it looks like a metallic egg, but it's basically a force nuclear bomb.
So funny. Just the force materializes as a silver Benoit ball.
But the thought bomb is nothing to scoff at. And Lord Khan, he was all like, okay, so Bane was all like, we need to enact this ultimate plan to defeat the Jedi. And Lord Khan, he was kind of suspicious. Like, you gotta keep it in mind from his perspective. He's kind of this honorable, I wouldn't say Sith Lord.
He's not affiliated with the dark side whatsoever.
Yeah, he's kind of an honorable man, but in these last days, he's kind of going a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, he is he is desperate for anything. Again, the ultimate victory against the Jedi and all that. And he was kind of looking at Bane, and he was like, this motherfucker might be planning to overthrow me. Okay, I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of fighting alongside me in the hour of our final victory. And he mind-tricked Bane to stay in the camp. Because they were planning to go into the caves where the thought bomb is.
Oh, that's sneaky.
And Khan was like, Bane, you do not want to take my position of power. You are not interested in power.
He didn't want to do that, period.
And, do keep in mind, Khan is kind of cuckoo right now.
Yeah, and he's like set on the thought of he wants to take my place. And Bane's just standing there like, no, I fucking don't.
Because do keep in mind, when Bane gave Khan the schematics for this thought bomb, Khan never shared this knowledge with anyone else of his lords. Mm-hmm. Like, this is my idea, not Bane's.
Okay.
So he mind-tricked Bane to stay in the camp, and Bane was just, pretending like, yes, I will stay.
Internally, he's like, bruh.
You're trying to mind-trick me?
To be fair, that is clever.
That is very clever. And Khan was like, cool, I'm going to go into the caves for the rest of my Brotherhood. Join me in our last stand against the Jedi. And Bane, he was just chilling in the camp. And Lord Hoth and some of his forces went into the caves. And, this entire last stand, Khan, he's just chilling in his throne in the cave. And because he was under the assumption that the thought bomb would kill the Jedi and leave his forces alone.
That's not how that works.
However, this is one of the things that Bane conveniently left out. It kills all Force users, not just the Jedi.
Yep.
So he's basically shooting his own leg.
No, he's shooting himself in the foot.
Pretty much. Or just committing suicide right then and there.
No, that's too funny. He's just sitting there twiddling his thumbs. I'm just picturing this hulking dude sitting in this camp twiddling his thumbs, waiting. Just
So yeah, Khan and his remaining Brotherhood went into the caves. Lord Hoth and some of his Jedi went in there.
Yes,
and then,
he said that.
And then Khan, he's like, boop, and with a single stroke.
Just the very quiet nuke.
Yeah, just the quiet nuke. Bane, he was far enough away to not be affected by the thought bomb, but he felt its presence and its huge explosion. And he's like, cool.
Cool, that's out of the way.
Cool. The Sith, except for myself, are dead. I have accomplished the first step of my plan.
And that was just step one.
And
after a fucking hour, that was step one.
Okay, I love this quote of Bane talking about Khan and his final moments.
Okay.
Khan's smartest decision. his suicide.
Oof. Oof.
Like, there's another quote I remember where Githani was praising Khan and his tactical genius and all that, and Bane was all like, he's a slug.
I picture him rolling his eyes like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh, yeah, he's...
Just lit.
But yeah, all of the Sith were dead, and the rest of the Jedi had no idea about Darth Bane's presence or anything like that. So they assumed that the Sith went extinct in the caves of Ruusan.
They thought that they were dead.
Yeah, like Lord Hoth and his forces were dead, but the Jedi were still intact. They assumed that the Sith were now completely extinct. Yes. And will lead into the golden age of the Republic, which we will talk about in a later episode. And Bane, after he sends the detonation of a thought bomb, he would travel the surface of Ruusan, kind of just exploring, because he wanted to find his own apprentice. Also, miraculously, his former love interest, Githani, survived the thought bomb.
How the fuck?
So she came out of the caves as a shriveled corpse, like, I have survived, Bane. I am worthy as your apprentice. And then she slowly disintegrated into a skeleton.
Okay.
So, kind of impressive that she did survive for a little bit, but still.
Would you even call that surviving?
I mean, taking a nuke to the face and surviving for a couple minutes is kind of impressive.
That wouldn't be considered surviving. She just died a little bit after.
Yeah, everybody else had an instantaneous death, yes. Not Githani.
Yes.
And Darth Bane was like, oh no. Anyway. Uh-huh. So he would walk the surface of Ruusan, and he would stumble upon this young girl. And I will actually send you a picture of this little interaction because there is actually a comic on this.
She's so little.
She is so little. And they have this little conversation. Do you know who I am? You're a Sith. You're not afraid of me? No. I have killed many people. Men, women, even children. I'm a killer too. Yeah,
she's convinced she's a killer. This child is convinced she's a killer. Because she killed the fucking pomp thing right next to her.
And with that, Bane's first plan went off without a hitch. Arguably, the second plan is where he will face the most difficulties, training his first apprentice and setting the stepping stones for the grand plan of a Sith. And that is where we're going to end that episode.
That was a good ending.
Yeah, it was a very good ending. And we will continue the saga of Darth Bane and Darth Zana in the next episode.
The next chapter of the history of the Sith is, of course,
the rule of two. Yeah, I'm very excited. And I am glad that I've been able to get around to talking about Darth Bane because he is such an important character.
Yeah, I kind of got that.
Yeah.
But I had mainly learned most of this from just learning about Darth Zana herself.
Yeah. I hope you didn't learn too much.
Just Wikipedia reading.
Oh, that's fair.
So
she's got a long ass article.
Yes, she does. But anyway.
But yeah, that is our episode of Can Mayonnaise Kill a Jedi? Or in this case, thus begins a new era of the Sith. Any thoughts, Hannah?
Hang on, I was looking at something I got pinged on. Bane's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, he is pretty cool.
I've never really given him that much thought before, but in a way he does kind of embody the true core ideals of the Sith.
Yeah, and I do like the aspect that, okay, so he came from a very tragic background. Like, had he been born as a normal-ass person that wasn't continuously abused, I could see him as a very, I wouldn't say a nobody because he was
just go through his life normally.
Yeah, like he would have been a great Sabacc player, and that's probably the life that he would have led had he not killed the ensign. But tragedy is what tragedy is, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
And I do like the fact that Bane, technically he is a very influential figure, but a majority of people in the Star Wars galaxy don't even know he exists.
Oh yeah.
Like, technically, if we are going lore accurate with his appearance in the Clone Wars, Yoda wouldn't even know who Darth Bane is.
Yeah, it's like walking up to any modern Sith, like Palpatine. Would he know? Probably not.
No, probably not, yeah.
Maul, it's like, who the fuck is that? I don't give a fuck.
But yeah, like Darth Bane, like okay, we'll eventually get more into the way of the Rule of Two episode.
Like we said, next episode.
But yeah, like it's also important that when Bane was laying the foundations of the Rule of Two and the ultimate revenge against the Jedi, it was a entire generation of planning, like 1,000 years of planning, and clearly Bane did not take into consideration the Kaminoans of a clone army.
Oh yeah.
Like, he had the vague outline, but not really the means to that goal.
Very true.
But yeah, that's one of the things I really like about Darth Bane. He's cool. He comes from very humble beginnings, unlike a lot of Sith that you see. Mm-hmm. And he can actually back up most of his claims.
Well, that and the dude's fucking jacked.
He is very jacked.
He can kick your ass in a fight, and he can outsmart you.
Oh, absolutely.
Prime example of one of the best Sith ever.
Oh yeah, opinion. Absolutely. Darth Bane is a badass.
As much as I like the Sith, it's like the backstabbing does get old. True, yeah. But it is the way of the Sith.
It is the way of the Sith. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about more about the Rule of Two, Darth Zana, and more of Darth Bane in the next episode.
I can't wait to talk about Darth Zana.
Yeah, I am very excited too. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Can Mayonnaise Kill a Jedi? I know we always talk about the Sith, but it's very important in the context of Star Wars.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, they're equally as important as the Jedi.
Very, very. I mean, the franchise would be nowhere without both of these fuckers. As much as we like to, do a lot of penis envy and all that.
Yeah, I know, but this just... Sorry, Sith simp coming here.
Yep.
I love the Sith.
Yeah.
No matter what era.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I had a wonderful time retelling Darth Bane's story, and we'll see you in the next episode. Any closing statements, Hannah?
Surprisingly, I'm not going to simp for Darth Bane.
That is indeed very surprising. Yeah. Instead, you would simp for Khan.
Yeah, I'd simp for Khan because he's handsome. Yeah. Darth Bane isn't that much of a looker. So
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, no, the simp is not simping for the creator of the Rule of Two.
I'm just giving you the small
clap.
The clap.
The golf clap.
Anyway, may the Force be with you.
This is the way.
And these chains will be broken.
No, I think these chains are broken.
These chains are broken. The Force shall free me. Bye-bye.
Bye.